Oh, it's true. It's the Horse Racing Happy Hour Haskell edition. We do this every year with our guy, Matt Dinerman. He'll call the race on Saturday. And Matt, I have decided to take a very unusual route to the Haskell. Welcome in. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. It's happy hour. This is water. It's not something else. I could lie if I wanted to, but I don't think that looked good in any stretch of the imagination even.
Oh,
so,
man. Yeah. I don't know that I've ever seen you have an alcoholic beverage, Matt. So to be fair,
every once in a while.
It's all right.
For social purposes, but yeah, you won't see me have too many of those. And for good reason. Especially on the clock, you will not see me having any of those.
No, I totally get it. So what's interesting, Matt, is I'm trying to navigate what are ridiculous flight prices right now, right? And I'm a self-employed guy, so I've got to figure out how to get to these races and cover them and do different things more creatively. So do you know what I'm doing on Saturday is I am flying to Newark and I'm taking the train, brother.
There you go.
Look, man, $20, $25, whatever it is, it's gonna drop me right there. I got about a
great
half
ride.
a mile walk to the front gate, done. And so I'm excited to do that.
Get some exercise, you see a good view. They got good muffins on the train in the kitchen. It's all good.
Oh, there you go. A little muffin talk. I like that. All right, so we'll talk muffins on Saturday for sure. One of my favorite grass races of the year is the United Nations. Will be on Saturday. Of course, the old three-turner there at Monmouth Park. We'll talk about that one later in the card. But Matt, this card in general on Saturday, I talked to Dennis Drazen, of course, the president of ops out there at Monmouth Park on Blood Horse Monday this week. And, every year I get to ask him how important this day is for Monmouth and what it means for racing in New Jersey, et cetera. He has the same answer every year just about what Haskell Day means. What does it mean to you as an announcer?
Well, these are the types of days that when you train to be an announcer, when you work on your craft, these are the days you want to get to call. So it's exciting. It's fun. Obviously, for the local community, as you mentioned, it's very important. It's an important day for the racing community. I mean, this is a big day every year on the calendar, no matter where you're at, you're watching it. So for an announcer, it's an honor to be able to call a race like this, a card like this. It's always an honor when you're calling races for any track because they are enlisting you with the job of narrating these races for the public. So very special and really looking forward to it once again this year. It's been a blast the first 2 years that I've done it, and I have no doubt it'll be the same this year.
Crazy to think this is your third Haskell already, but it's always a fun one to be there for. I always tell people the thing that stands out is if you haven't been to Monmouth, you really are missing out on one of the jewels of a track in our sport, but you're also missing out on a crowd on Haskell Day that is a true mix of people, but it does get really young on the first floor. A bunch of really young patrons for that one, which I always enjoy the energy of the younger crowd. I think it really shows through on Haskell Day. Do you sense that energy even up in the announcer's booth?
Oh, definitely. And because I can call the races in my announcer's booth with the window open, I don't have to, but it's a lot easier. I'm sure if you talk to any announcer that's called here, they would say the same thing. You got to open those windows based on how it's configured and everything. You really get a good rush of that energy that seems to rise from the bottom and make their way into the announcer's booth. Just it's loud, I guess would be the right word to describe.
You're right.
It is very loud. I have not called a race yet louder than the Haskell last year. The Naira Betts Haskell won by journalism. That was the loudest race I've ever called, and it was an exciting race. And like you said, you just get a lot of college-age people having fun, in their 20s, the ones that can drink, having a drink, and 2 or 3 or 5. It's a party.
Yeah.
It's a party.
Asking me for cigars all day. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you see cigar smoke, rising up. And I compare it to opening day at Del Mar in a way, when opening day at Del Mar's full of, energy and vibes. And because I think you're starting to see it. I guess it wasn't like this 15 years ago because I've asked, but it's more of a younger crowd that wants to be seen. They want to dress up. They want to have a party. So I would say it's a lot like that in that respect.
Yeah, I don't care why people are at the track, Matt, as long as they show up at the track. So I'll always love Haskell Day because I know it's going to be busy. A good chance, frankly, Matt, of rain on Saturday. You've been there now. This is your third year calling races at Monmouth Park. I imagine they're going to do whatever they can to keep a race like the United Nations for sure on the grass course. Yeah.
I think so. And, this is our big day. There are big horses running on the grass. So they're going to do everything possible to keep these races, at least the stakes, on the turf. Look, there's no studies that indicate that running on a yielding surface or a wet ground is not as safe as running on a firm
Oh,
turf
sure.
course.
Right.
It all has to do with the maintenance of the turf course, making sure that those divots don't become a problem, and that if you can maintain the turf course, you get some water on it, you deal with the divots after the races, you're going to be just fine on it. So, with that in mind, this is the type of place where the weather forecast can change. I'm not saying it's going to. That could be
Sure.
wishful thinking. But we've seen rain in the forecast and then it doesn't. We have seen showers come in when it's not supposed to,
Right.
especially because we're close to the ocean. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm crossing my fingers, hoping maybe that rain goes over the water and it goes past us. That would be nice. Still a little too far out to tell, even 2 days out. But
I
I will say,
largely agree with that.
if it does rain, then we're going to do everything to keep these races on the turf. That's obviously a management decision, not my decision. But I'm hoping that we everything goes smoothly, would be the way to put it.
It's Matt Dinerman, Three Colts Handicap on the socials. Of course, he'll call the races at Monmouth Park throughout, but of course on Haskell Day as well. Your third year there, and they decide to make a change to the takeout rates for those of us who do bet on these races. And the move to 15%, Matt, I got to tell you, as a guy who loves a pick three, it's really my favorite wager. So often I look at a track and I see the takeout rate, and some of them, frankly, 10% higher than what you're dealing with at Monmouth Park. You're a guy that talks to a lot of horse players. How well received were those takeout rates?
I think it's been very well received. And the fact
Good.
of the matter is, the lower the takeout, the more money that's going back in your pockets. So,
Yep.
especially with the doubles and pick threes, we lowered every single one of the double and pick three wagers we have to 15%. Even the late double and the late pick three, those are specialized wagers with higher minimums. $3 for the late pick three, $5 for the late double. But I saw it with the golden hour wagers when I was at Golden Gate. Higher
Yeah, right.
minimum, lower takeout equals overlay payouts. So that's all good stuff. I think horse players will always be positive when they see a reduction in takeout, no matter what wager it is. That is a positive thing, in my opinion, and I think in the horse players' opinions as well. So it's been well received, and we've seen people really dive into those lower takeout wagers this year.
Doubles, pick threes, pick fours, and pick fives, all 15% at Monmouth for you this weekend. And anytime you want to wager up there, a series of different turf course arrangements, essentially layouts, if you will, Matt. It reminds me a bit of Tampa, how you guys run at 1.125 there, coming out of the middle of the course there. But there is a second sort of a little nook in the interior for turf sprints as well. So you've actually got two little shoots there.
Yeah, we do. And the Wolf Hill Stakes, going 5.5 furlongs on Haskell Day, will be coming out of that turf shoot. And look, it's been a fun race to be able to watch and call for an announcer, going 5.5 on the grass. And I think there are horses that prefer 5 going, just starting at the 5 ace pole basically,
Yeah.
versus 5.5 coming out of that shoot. I think some horses can deal with both, and there are others that we see prefer 5.5 or 5. So when you're a handicapper looking at that, that's important. I would note that.
Yeah, I always think of your 5.5 as more like 6, in the same way that I think of down the hill in Santa Anita, not a 6.5, but more like a mile.
Right.
If you're able to be more of a miler, then you're probably going to be able to figure those things out. Well, we're talking with Matt Dinerman against he'll call the races there at Monmouth Park this weekend and all weekends this summer. Of course, race 4 is the Monmouth Cup, and I think we were the show that actually broke the news that on Blood Horse Monday that Savvy was going to send Skippy Longstocking to this race. And Matt, I'm always reminded when this kind of thing happens, when you get a grade 1 winner in a grade 3 race, purses matter. When you can offer $350,000 in a grade 3 and the winner's check is essentially going to be $200,000, you're going to attract some talent. We got a trio of interesting horses in here. Is Skippy your favorite? He'll break from the 5 here. He's 3-2. Morning Line Maker does make Knightsbridge 7-5, and Money Game, the allowance winner for Brad Cox, 5-2. We appear to have a bit of a trio at the top, but what do you think of Skippy's chances here?
Well, I think he's got as good of a chance as anybody. And the one thing that he has that Knightsbridge does not is 2-turn experience. We have seen this horse ship around, seem to run well, whatever his surroundings are. So I tab him as the one to beat.
Okay.
I like Knightsbridge in the Met Mile. I took a shot with him that day, and I thought he ran respectable. He was getting a little bit tired late, but that was a really good field. But now he's got to go against Skippy Longstocking, and he's also got to go a mile and an eighth this time around. And I think if the race was a mile and a 16th, he'd be a little more intriguing. That said, you're not going to get a price either way. But I think Skippy should be tabbed as the one to beat. I know Knightsbridge is a very talented horse, and they've taken their time getting this horse to 2 turns, going a mile and an eighth. This will be the first time he tries it. But I do think if you have to tab as a horse to beat, it would be Skippy Longstocking.
We've got an undefeated 4-year-old in here. I don't get to say that very often, but he's 4-0. His most recent win came at Saratoga. His name's Money Game. He'll bring from the inside. I mentioned he's 5-2 on the morning line here for trainer Brad Cox. First time, no Lasix. We're going as far as we did last time, though, and this horse settled off the pace and then beat a fine horse, frankly, and Ben Doog last time. What do you make of his chances here?
Yeah, he's sort of the wise guy horse in this race. I mean, obviously, he's not hard to spot on the past performances.
Sure.
He started his career at Oaklawn, believe it or not, and he won 2 races in a row, and obviously they've had to stop with him, but he's come back to be solid, and I guess the question is, boy, this is a big bump up in class, so can he deal with that? I mean, he's beaten decent enough horses, but nothing close, not in a stratosphere compared to Skippy Longstocking or even Knightsbridge. So this is a big class bump up for him. Bishop's Bay, actually, he ran here in the Salvatore Mile. He's got a lot of class, as you know, and he was nominated for this race. So it's very interesting that Brad Cox opts to run Money Game rather than Bishop's Bay in a race like this, because Bishop's Bay, it seems like he has the class to maybe possibly go up against Skippy Longstocking or a Knightsbridge. So I guess I see this as a positive move, because I feel like if Brad didn't think this horse was that good, he probably wouldn't want to run against Skippy Longstocking or Knightsbridge. You'd look for something else. So I see this as a positive move in that respect, but he will need to improve.
5-2 for the inside breaker there for Brad Cox. Moving on to race 6. Another one with some star power in it is the grade 2 Molly Pitcher. Going a mile and a 16th on the dirt in this one. 4.5, fillies and mares 3 end up in this one. And another one where I think the purse does make a difference, because Splendora is going to make the trip for this one for Bob Baffert. She'll break from the outside. We see a horse in Alpine Princess that I've liked in a couple of different spots. Was a winner in the Double Dog Dare this year on that short stretch at Keeneland. Splendora, is she the one to beat here? I think she's the class for sure.
Yeah, definitely. She's the one to beat. And if she runs her very best race, she probably wins. If the track is on the wet side on Saturday, that's a question. We've never seen her perform on a wet surface. But she's the class of the race. She's a Breeders' Cup winner. I know that race was going 7 furlongs. It was scratched down to, I think, 6 horses, something like that, 7 horses, whatever it was. So it wasn't the strongest group either, but she's got a lot of class. And I know Bob Baffert, he was thinking about maybe running this gal at Churchill Downs 3-4 weeks ago and opted to scratch and wait for the Molly Pitcher. So I think this is the race that's sort of been going in this direction up the last few years. And it's the purse has been increased to $500,000 this year. It's been upgraded from a grade 3 to a grade 2. Obviously upstate, up the next state, the Shuvi is a $250,000 grade 2 at Saratoga, which will be run next week. We've got that $500,000 Molly Pitcher here, and we've attracted some good names. And I mean, you look at a couple of the winners that I got to call. Idiomatic, the first year I was here, she was the best filly and mare dirt router in the country. So we get good runners in this race, and that trend continues with Splendora.
Dry powders here. Paco Lopez, obviously 46% winners at Monmouth right now. I texted you on Father's Day of all things. I was sitting in an OTB being a father, and I was betting Monmouth. And all I did was put together a $10 pick 3. Paco. It hit for like $65 or something, but whatever. Hey, we'll take 6-1 on our money. Does Paco give this horse a chance in this race? I mean, because she wins the Lady Secret last time. How good is she?
I think she's solid. I mean, I haven't seen her put up a performance that indicates she's Splendora class, but she last time out had to work awfully hard for it, and it was against a much inferior group. So this is a stronger group. She's going to have to improve. At lower odds, I'd bet against her. I mean, I thought last time out, it looked like on the turn, she had to pick it up to win the race, and she did. She found more, but this is a much tougher group. I will say, though, she's got some back class. She's graded stakes placed. And Chad Summers, who's got Napoleon Solo and the Naira Betts Haskell later in the card, he's going to have her ready. I saw her in the paddock schooling today, and she's a
Okay.
tank. I mean,
Yep.
she's an athlete when you look at her. So good looking, physical. She's clearly one that has done well for her connection. She's made her money back from that high purchase price, but she'll need to improve off her last race.
Nara Zuri's in here, one that you saw win a couple of restricted stakes there at Oaklawn. She was also a good runner in the Bayakoa, did try the Apple Blossom Claret Beret that way, and Nitrogen running second. So obviously not in that kind of class. Is Nara Zuri up for the task on Saturday?
I think it's possible. I mean, she hasn't really run a race in graded stakes to indicate that, but
I agree.
her minor stakes races are really good. And I don't know if she's just beaten up on fields that maybe aren't as good as they look on paper. I mean, she's running against okay horses, but she's running against what looks like legit minor stakes caliber runners, and she's just easily defeating them by open lengths, which tells you, well, she's probably be okay at grade 3, grade 2. But whenever she runs in those graded stakes waters, she's not quite as effective. So she needs to answer that question for us. But I do think it's interesting. Mark Casse entered her here in the 500-gram Molly pitcher against Splendora versus maybe waiting at home where she's stable at Saratoga to run in the Chuvy, which will probably be an easier group. But the money does talk as well, and maybe they're going to take a shot here. And even if she runs second, she makes $100,000. So pretty good. And I mean, if you run second or third in the Chuvy, you're not going to make anything close to that. So, it'll be interesting. I like that she's got Luis Saez because he's a really aggressive rider when he rides his best. And she seems like one that against this type of horse, she's going to need to get an aggressive ride, and they need to get her running out of the gate, and they need to keep her going.
Matt Dinerman is joining us here on the Horse Racing Happy Hour. We're doing our Haskell Day preview as we do every single year with him. Find him at 3 Colts Handicap on the socials if you want to go find him there. Race 7, Matt, is the matchmaker. This is the filly and mare side of the turf races. Mile and an eighth starts in that bit of a chute in the middle of the track that we described earlier, $300,000 in the purse for this one. And this is another race, Matt, where I think the purse did really enhance the field. Obviously, nothing wrong with winning a grade 3, but I think that there are some horses in here, including Sweet Treasure. Gray Osh is a really nice horse. City Girl making the trip down for Chad Brown as well. A very nice trio on the inside of this race. Any of those three stand out to you?
I don't think they stand out necessarily, but Chad Brown does. I call this the Chad Brown Invitational because if you look at this race, he has just dominated this race. And he runs good horses in it, too. Sagesta won last year, and Sagesta turned out to be a grade 1 winner. She won a grade 1 after the WinStar Matchmaker later on in the year. So he will run good fillies and mares in this race, especially as stepping stones for maybe bigger races. I think a runner like City Girl makes sense in that respect. Gray Osh ran third in this race last year. She's just not at the top level in that particular barn. She very much looks like a grade 3 minor stakes caliber horse, but I'm not opposed to using Sweet Treasure as maybe trying to beat this Chad Brown pair here because I do think that off that win in the Julep Stakes last time out at Churchill Downs, I thought that was a good effort. This is a tougher field, but she's going in the right direction for Brad Cox, and Brad's got a strong lineup of a few stakes horses here, as we mentioned earlier, not just further ado in the Naira Betts Haskell, but a few others that are live. So I feel like I look at this and I say, okay, I don't think Chad Brown's got this race surrounded as much as he has in the past. Even a horse like Long Ago, I know she's entered at Saratoga in another race, so we'll see if he ends up running her Billy Morey here or at Saratoga. I think the day before tomorrow, but I think there are ways to maybe beat Chad this year. But he's got two very formidable foes there. I think Gray Osh will like the mile and an eighth, and City Girl is one that makes a ton of sense. And I'm interested to see what the odds board indicates too.
What about Long Ago? You saw her in the Ms. Liberty. That was first off of about a 6-month layoff there. How did she look?
I thought she looked good, and
I
picked her that day, hoping that she'd get a clear lead, and she did. And she did everything but win the race, and she got run down late. I don't think an extra 16th will be a problem.
I agree.
And I don't think that there's an abundance of pace in this race. So, look, this is a $300,000 race. She's entered in a $150,000 restricted stake at Saratoga, so it's double the money. It's a smaller field, and looking on paper, she's 12-1 at Saratoga. I don't have the morning line odds right with me. You might. Do you have her morning line odds
for Monmouth?
Yeah.
I do. So for us, essentially top to bottom here, Sweet Treasure 2-1, Gray Oak 4-1, 5-2 on City Girl. Long Ago is 4-1. Frankly,
Yeah.
based on the numbers, if these played out like this and I was able to lock that price in, Long Ago might be a good play at 4-1.
4-1. Yeah, she makes sense. So she's 12 to
Yeah, I
1 in the
agree.
race at Saratoga. She's 4-1 in this one. So it's a smaller field, probably pace scenario wise, it's going to work out well for her. So it'll be interesting where they run this mare, if they run her here, if they just stay and run in Saratoga. I know she's been training there, but I think she's got a good chance to maybe take them the distance here.
I think the other missing part of the puzzle that you're putting together right now, the final piece, is you get Paco Lopez on Monmouth. I mean, like at some point, you know, you put all the pieces together of that puzzle. 4-1 might be the price of the day, frankly. Moving on.
And I just want to note real quick that I forgot to mention the mare she lost to last time. Give Me Another.
Give Me
Another, right? I mean, she's a monster. I think she's going to run in the Beverly D at Colonial in a couple weeks for Grand Motion, and she's a much better runner than any of the horses in here. So, is that the race I'm thinking of? Am I thinking about that correctly?
The winner of the Ms. Liberty was Ozara.
Oh, Ozara. I'm sorry. Ozara. I'm thinking of Give Me Another and
I'm just with her, Matt, it's much more, you know, off the layoff. Horse comes back. It is in good form. This is second off the layoff here for a guy like Billy Morey, who I really trust. Second.
And Ozara's in to my point, Ozara's in the Diana.
She's okay.
In the Diana.
There you go.
She's very good. She's better than the fillies in this race. If Ozara was in this race, she'd be 8-5. And she got run down late by Ozara. So I think Long Ago makes a lot of sense in here. I'm onto it with you.
Yeah, if you get 4-1, certainly go ahead and take a stab at that one. Race 11 will be the United Nations, one of my favorite turf races anywhere, frankly, in North America all year. We're going to mile and 3/8 on the turf here in this one. This is for $3 and up and $500,000 million in this one. Very few races have made me feel as smart as Get Smokin' made me feel when he won a rendition of this race. Matt, this is another one where we always check out where the Chad Brown trainees are going to be. Obviously, program training's in here. How do you handicap horses like a program trading? Now, I know he's gone a mile and 3/16 before, but we haven't seen this horse go further than that. How do you handicap a horse trying a mile and 3/8 here?
Well, I mean, horses like him seem that they can run all day. I look at how they run. I look at their running style. I watch their replays and see they look like a horse that can sort of stay all day as a true stayer. And I think he can. And running this horse in the Monmouth Stakes last time out, which it was the same situation with redistricting last year, won this race. Chad Brown ran him in the Monmouth, he won, and then he came back and won the United Nations. So I think this has been the race all along for this horse, at least in the summertime. This has been the major goal. I think it's like 26, 28 days before the Christophe Clement, which they used to call the sword dancer. So maybe if he runs well here, they'll take a shot against tougher company. But this is the race I think that Chad's really been pointing this horse for a couple months, and he got the confidence booster. I think that he'll be just fine going a mile and 3/8. I think the question is whether he's good enough, and it sure looks like on paper that he's got the class. But I still think that he hasn't shown quite as much the last few races, even though he won last time. This is a little bit of a tougher group. He hasn't quite shown what we saw earlier in his career from him. So maybe that confidence booster last time in the Monmouth is what he needs. I look at how they run. I look at their pedigrees to try to figure out, can these horses go farther? I think this horse will be just fine going a mile and 3/8.
Yeah, program trading. I think what you just said is actually what came to my mind when he got entered last month at Monmouth was, let's give this horse a trip to the winner's circle. Let's give him some confidence here because it's been a minute. It's been a couple races for him before since he had that kind of success. He's the second favorite in here and new to the turf. Just a touch will be made the favorite according to your morning line maker at 8-5. Interesting move to the turf by Brad Cox, but boy, it's paying off. And if he wins a grade 2 with this horse at his third grass start, we're gonna tip the cap once again. A real chance at the double here with him. And further ado, what do you make of Just a Touch's chances here? I gotta say, just watching him at Churchill, he's real comfortable on the green stuff.
Yeah, he likes the grass, and that's where they're going to keep him. And it was a clever move by Brad to make this decision to try him on the grass because, I mean, he was running in some big races on the dirt, some good races. He ran in the Monmouth Cup last year here and was heavily favored, and he lost, and he was disappointing in that respect. And Brad Cox says, we need to change this up. and it's worked out well for him, and his confidence has gone up. I mean, the way he won last time, he won for fun. He wasn't facing any program trainings in that race at Delaware, but he was facing okay horses. So it's almost like they started over with him. I mean, he won on an allowance at Keeneland, and it's almost like, all right, let's pretend the last year or two hasn't happened with all these good dirt races that he's running, and let's just start over, run him an allowance, and work his way back up into those graded stakes ranks. So I like the move. I like that they're running him in this race. As well, I think that the Arlington Million will come up strong. The Christophe Clement next month will come up strong. So Brad's picking his spots with this horse, and I don't think he needs to be a grade 1 caliber 1.5 mile, 3/8 type of horse to win a race like this for a good purse of $500,000.
Reminder that he did finish last in the Kentucky Derby. Also finished last. Oaklawn's favorite horse, Whitmore. So it's not so bad to finish in the last in the Kentucky Derby all the time. It can work out for you. Moving on, it's also fun, Matt, to watch horses like Just a Touch, who we did think of as, Derby trail kind of horses, those high level dirt. Figure it out at 5. No, it's okay. Who cares when you figure it out, as long as we get to watch you run well and win races. And Just a Touch seems to be one of those. Others in this race that I think are really interesting, maybe Echo Lane, the Florida bred in here, will break from the 3. Luis Saez gets the lead, or gets the amount here. And Echo Lane's an interesting one because he's willing to do the stalking. We watched him try to do that in the grade 3 Louisville. Of course, Burnham Square pulling away in that one. I think the 1 3/8 will fit him. Not so great the Chorleywood last time, but do you give Echo Lane much of a chance here?
I think he's got a decent shot. I mean, this will be a class test for him, but I think he makes sense. I mean, he ran some good races in Florida in the wintertime against decent horses. So I like this spot. I looked at the stakes nominations when they came out, and I saw this horse in there, and I said to myself, this would be a good grade 2 for a horse like him, looking at the other nominations. When you go up against grade 2 horses for $500,000, you're going to find a program trading. You're going to find a Just a Touch or some good connections. You're going to find that any grade 2 you're running. But I think this is the right one for a horse like him.
Trombetta sending Uncle's Gold up from Colonial, where he won at 1 mile and a 16th. And I get Paco Lopez. Talk me off of the Uncle's Gold in the Exacta box. Talk me out of that.
Well, it's hard for me to do that because you get a horse that has good form for a good outfit and is just continuing to trend upward. And it's like that old question goes, would you rather play a claiming horse going down in class when maybe their form isn't great, or take a horse that's cheaper on paper but is winning races? And this is the same situation in a graded stake. On class, he doesn't necessarily fit against the top contenders, but his form's really good, and it's just continuing to go up. It's like a stock. You want to take a stock that's maybe you thinking is going in the right direction, or is it going to tail off at some point?
Third in the form cycle for him here. 2 runs in June. Both of them wins. 1 at Delaware, 1 at Colonial. 1 going 1 mile 70, 1 going 1 mile and a 16th. Does have to drop Lasix, but did win the Turf Classic at Tampa, doing exactly that at 1 mile and an 1/8 earlier in March. He's Matt Dinerman. I'm Louis Rabot. It's time to meet the field for the Haskell Stakes, named for Amory Haskell. I like to do a buy or sell kind of can they win or not version when we get here. Matt already nodding because he knows how this show works. So in honor of Amory Haskell, we're going to say if a horse can win, that it's Amore. All right. And if it's not, just no Amore. Just not. No Amore. No.
I don't love.
No.
No Amore.
That's right. Exactly.
What's the no Amore, and what's the other one?
It's Amore.
It's Amore. Okay.
It's Amore. There you go. Okay. Yeah, there you go. And that's also in honor of all of the great pizza that you don't even have to look for in New Jersey. Literally, if you drive your car and crash into a building, it will have good pizza in it. So like, just do that. it's so true. God, it's so unbelievable.
It's true.
It makes Matt, it hurts my soul to go to Monmouth every year, literally drive somewhere, just see a pizza place somewhere and just pull in, get a grandma. It's better than anything in Louisville. That I get back to Louisville and everyone's just not doing as well. It's just not. Literally some strip mall is better than whatever. It's unbelievable. You don't have to disparage Louisville pizza. I'll do that for
I'm not going to name names, but there was a place in San Diego that I loved when I was younger. And then I came to the Jersey Shore and I went back there in the fall to visit, and I said, wait, this isn't that good.
It's
I'm
amazing what
getting
happens when that
spoiled
happens.
in New
Yeah,
Jersey.
you travel a little bit. And you're like this. I thought I had it good. San Diego's still all right. But he is Matt Dinerman. Let's go through the field here for the Haskell Stakes. $1,000,000 on the line, of course. A spot in the Breeders' Cup Classic as well, which journalism used to springboard to a 4th place finish last year. Matt, I kind of wanted to stop here and remember that run by journalism last year, because what I would hate to happen, because he hasn't won since the Haskell last year, and he'll be in the San Diego Handicap this weekend.
On
I think
the
he's
same
got
day.
a really great shot, and I think it's a really wise move by the Connections, because I actually made the case a couple of weeks ago. There's a world in which after the Met Mile that he doesn't win another race. Because if they keep putting him in these kinds of spots with this level of handicap division that we have right now, it might not even be his fault. He might run a bunch of great races and it might not matter. I think the San Diego Handicap will be a good spot for him. And I think real shot to return to the winner's circle. I say all of that.
Definitely.
Yeah, I say all of that to say this. I know Sovereignty needed to be 3-year-old of the year last year because he won heads up against journalism. But if you go back and you think about the fact that journalism ran in all 3 of the Triple Crown races, wins the Preakness the way that he did, and then they just announce out of nowhere, hey, we're shipping to Jersey. We're going to run this guy in the Haskell. He wins the Haskell the way that he does. And then, again, runs to the Pacific Classic as a 3-year-old, runs into a Fierceness who nobody was going to beat that day, tries the Breeders' Cup Classic, runs a great 4th, a sub 202, I think a sub 202, 10 furlongs as well. Just a spectacular year for last year's Haskell winner. Journalism. Yeah. I just wanted to kind of celebrate the fact that that was the horse that saved the Triple Crown. That Belmont does not matter if journalism's not in all 3 of those races. It doesn't win the Preakness. So just wanted to celebrate the winner of the Haskell.
Definitely. And you know, they did not duck anybody. They didn't miss any dances, and they didn't have to. They didn't have to do that, but they did because they wanted to be a part of it. Their horse was doing well. Kudos to Aaron Wellman and Michael McCarthy. And
the Clips folks.
Sorry to say, folks, we need more of that. I'm not saying you know you should run a horse if they're not 100%. I'm not saying that.
Right. No.
But if your horse is ready to run, we need to run them. We sometimes I think they're, and I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to knock any. I'm not going to be pointing fingers. But sometimes you got a horse that's ready and you sit on them and you wait for the right spot. If they're ready to run them.
Yeah.
And I think that this horse, he's just a very robust horse. And one thing I really like about Michael McCarthy as a trainer is I've seen it following his stable. When they're ready, he runs. He doesn't have to work them 15 times before he runs them. When they're ready, okay, let's look for a race. They're ready now.
Yep. Oselli's in this race. And when you ask Whit Beckman, why are you sending Oselli? He would just tell you, he's my best 3-year-old.
Yeah.
He's in form and he's my best 3-year-old. And I remember, you know who told me that last year, right before the Preakness? D. Wayne Lucas.
Yeah.
Hey, guy. Yeah. Just a little bit.
Well, yeah, he's another one. He run.
Just random. That's right. No, but I think there are guys, there are examples of this, and not just guys, but, trainers that are like this where, I think of a Kenny McPeak, with the, you're at Oaklawn. He's that like guy, that, if they're healthy, they run, right? If they're ready, they run. Cassie certainly won. I think out west, Doug O'Neill is in that camp for sure. He doesn't. The condition book matters very little to Doug O'Neill. Let's be really clear, right? I mean,
take shots. Yeah.
Exactly. Why not us is absolutely the barn motto. And I think, you've got to Whit Beckman, for example, in this race that I think has a lot of that in him. So let's go through that Haskell field here. $1 million on the line. Breaking from the inside will be Star Sweeper, a 30-1 type here. Ran in the Pegasus last out. It's too bad the horse ran like it did, because in the Long Branch, this horse looked like a developing horse that might actually be ready on Haskell Day to hit the board here, Matt. It's a no amore for me here based on that last performance. Unfortunately, like I said, long a little bit up.
Well, it's a no amore for me too, but I will say that this horse, he ran well. Two back in the Long Branch. I thought that was a winning effort. If you watch the race, he ran as well as the winner did.
Yep.
Last time, I was a bit shocked that there was no aggressive. I totally lost my train of thought. There was no aggressive riding. There was no aggressive tactics. I try to get this horse into the race early, because if you look at his past performances, he gets braver when he's up there battling in the race right away. Now, class-wise, he doesn't fit. Speed-wise, he doesn't fit. I think the only chance this horse has got in a race like this to do halfway decent here, is get aggressive, let him run, and just get him running, get his feet under him, get him close, and see if he can get brave.
Further ado, we'll break from the two. He is the 3-year-old that I watched win by the largest margin of any horse that I saw in person this year. Matt winning the Bluegrass by 11 lengths there at Keeneland. He's a grade 1 winner. He's a grade 3 winner last out in the Matt win as well, which he did, I think, pretty easily. Irad Ortiz Jr. into ride for the day. Gotta imagine it's Amore with him.
Yeah, it's Amore. And I will say this, he's probably the horse out of anybody that if they're negatively affected by post position, it's possible it's him, because his best races have come when he's outside in the clear and he draws towards the inside. Now, we've seen this plenty of times, especially in a field of just 6 other horses. He probably find his way outside, and who knows, maybe he will be able to run an effective race inside of horses just laying right there. But he's got a brilliant running style. I mean, just a really good running style. He's got a lot of natural speed. You can put him on the lead. You can put him right off. It doesn't seem to matter. So he's going to be in the race early, assuming he breaks. And I think that this horse is the one to beat. I think he's one of the better horses in the country. And he's the type of horse, look, if he can run his best races outside of Keeneland, for example, and he looked really good in the Matt win, and he wasn't asked for his best in the Matt win when he won.
I agree.
If he can consistently run those types of races that we've seen at Keeneland from him, there's a good chance that come Travers Day, if he runs like that, they're not going to catch him. I think he's that good if he can show it.
Further ado, one of 5 stakes winners in this field. Is he the class of the field, Matt?
I would say he's one of the class horses of the race, but I wouldn't say he is the class horse of the race. Yeah, he won the grade 1 at Keeneland, the Bluegrass, but he also didn't beat much of a field that day compared to what he's seeing here. So I wouldn't say he's the class of the race, but he's certainly one of the class horses of the race. I think it's hard to tab one singular class horse of the race because they all sort of come from different big races.
I agree with you, Matt. Dinerman going through the field here. It's Amore in honor of Amory Haskell. The next up on our list isn't Baby Yoda, but Baby Vino, son of Vino Rosso, of course. Winner of the Pegasus pretty easily last out. Paco Lopez will jump off, of course, to ride the winner of the Preakness and Napoleon Solo. Vargas gets them out here for Lindsey Schultz. This one very impressive last out, Matt. Was that a fluke? Was that repeatable? Frankly, the fraction's not too terribly quick either. What do we make of Baby Baby Vino here?
Well, I'm going to say it's Amore here. I'm not opposed to using this horse somewhere, and maybe it's not up top in your bets. Maybe it's under. By the way, I don't bet the races I call, so I should rephrase that. I won't be using anything because I don't want to be biased that way.
It's actually not a bad thing for you to say right now. I get it.
But this horse, look, ever since he's gotten into the route game, and he spent his winter at Oakland, he got to the route game and he's just improved every single race. So yeah, at some point there's a ceiling. I don't necessarily think the ceiling's there yet. I think this horse can get a little bit better. And he beat a field that was mediocre last time out. Call a spade for what it is. But he did it the right way. He's tactical. He's going to get a good trip if he breaks. I think if you try to pick a horse that's going to be a price, this is the type of horse to do it. A horse that is improving, going in the right direction. His sire, Vino Rosso, I mean, he got better with time.
No doubt.
He's a Curlin stallion. So there's a lot of signals in the pedigree saying this horse can get better. For a good trainer, Lindsey Schultz, who worked under Shug McGahee, and she herself learned about that whole developing horses thing, right? That Shug McGahee's done so well at. So all signs indicate this horse has a chance to get better than he's already been. And that's a good thing for a race like this. This is really a class test for him, but I would not be opposed to using him on certain tickets if I was playing this race.
Trainer Lindsey Schultz's best graded stakes is the grade 3, the old Baltimore-Washington International Turf Cup down there at Laurel Park. And she did win the Iceland there at back in the day as well. Looking for her first grade 1 is Lindsey Schultz. The interesting thing here too is 15-1 on that number on that horse, 7-2 on the Puma, who comes in not having raced since the Florida Derby, one that we lost during Derby week to injury or to, I can't remember now. I think it was a soft foot, something like that. But we did talk with their connections that week. They weren't too terribly concerned. And obviously they still think a lot of their son of essential quality to send him to the $1 million Haskell. It's Amore, or are we taking a no Amore off the bench here kind of approach, Matt?
Again, yeah, I'm going to say no Amore, but there needs to be context to this. I actually really like this horse, and he's a really good horse, and I respect him. But I'm not looking for who's going to win the Pennsylvania Derby, for example, in September.
Mm,
I'm looking for who's going to win the Naira Bets Haskell. And there's obstacles here. This horse hasn't run since late March, and this is a good field of horses. And it's just not easy to get a horse like him ready to beat all these very nice horses that have recency. That's my thought on that. If he goes off as the fourth choice, might be a different story. Might want to
yeah,
take a
right.
little bit of a chance. If he's the second or third choice, if he gets to an underlay, he's a play against. I think on paper, he makes sense. He fits. If he had a race under his belt before this, I would like him a lot. I might even
Yeah.
make him the top pick.
Mm.
I like this horse. He's legit. He's very, very good. And I think he's the type of horse that we could see improvement from moving on down the line. But for this race, against further ado, the Preakness winner Napoleon Solo, you've got horses with recency here, and it's not going to be easy to run a winning race against these horses that have the recency. I don't expect him to run fifth. I think he'll run better than that. I think they've got him cranked up as much as they can, and I think
I
he
agree.
probably will put up a good showing. But it's just a lot to ask to beat this field right away off this break.
I cannot remember. Did Essential Quality run in this race?
I don't think
I'm
so.
trying to remember
I don't
now.
think so.
I'm gonna go look.
Cyberknife did for Bradcock. Cyberknife
Right.
won this race, but I don't think
Yeah.
Essential Quality did. I do not think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
You are correct. He did not. He went to the Jim Dandy and won that one before
Gotcha.
winning the Travers. Yep. I didn't. Very infrequently, Matt, I mix up those two races, but this was one of those cases where I messed that up. Is it fair to say you would rather put Baby Vino because of price in an exacta play than the Puma? Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yeah. I think Baby Vino's strictly the value.
Yep.
He's not the horse on paper. On paper, he needs to run a lot faster. I mean, if some of these horses come with their best races, Baby Vino's going to have to improve 8 lengths at least. But there's reason to believe that he's going to be cranked, and maybe he will improve at a great price. Look, if you, let's just say you think, for example, the Puma is vulnerable off this layoff, and
Sure.
you know, you like somebody else, even if you like a horse like Iron Honor, you like second, third choice on top, and you get Baby Vino underneath somewhere, you're getting a little bit of value there.
Oh yeah, big time. No, that's exactly right.
He
Matt,
will be
moving
the
on.
second longest shot in the race. So
I agree with you. 3-1 though on Iron Honor. Grade 3 winner there in the Gotham, of course, up the track in the Wood Memorial before a very good showing in the Preakness at Laurel Park this year behind Napoleon Solo, who we'll talk about next. We've seen stranger things from Chad Brown than bringing a 3-year-old to a grade 1 race on the East Coast and going ahead and picking that off. Iron Honor, it's Amore or no Amore?
I went with no Amore here. Another situation where I like the horse. He's a good horse, but I don't know how good he is. I'm still trying to figure out how good this horse is. He's run a good race every time, really. I mean, he's run well. He's performed. Couldn't get by Napoleon Solo in the Preakness. I thought it was interesting that Chad Brown, right after the Preakness, very quickly committed to this race. So for whatever reason, he felt that this was his Haskell horse this year. He has quite a few top 3-year-olds like Emerging Market. He sort of zoned in on this race for this horse.
I agree.
I just haven't seen a performance from him to indicate that he's good enough to beat the best horses in this race. Hey, Chad Brown, he's as good as anybody at developing horses, right? And if you didn't think this horse was that good, you probably wouldn't run him in this race. But I want to see a little more from him. The positive I see with this horse is that if the pace is contentious, because you've got quite a few horses with tactical speed, if it does get contentious, he's going to get the right trip in here. And he probably will work out a decent enough trip. But I just haven't seen any performances to indicate to me that he is fast enough to beat the best horses in this race if they come with their best.
Second favorite in this race will be the 5-2 Napoleon Solo. Chad Summers trains, Paco Lopez rides here. Winner of the Preakness, won the Champagne last year. He's the only grade 1 winner on dirt at age 2 and 3 in the United States. Amore or no Amore for Napoleon Solo, the Preakness winner?
Yeah, I'm Amore. I think this horse is a good horse and ran well in the Preakness, obviously. The field was not particularly super strong. It was sort of a grade 2 type of field, but he did it the right way. He was game and winning. I actually think a mile and an eighth is going to be a little bit better than a mile and 3/16. I just don't know how far this horse really wants to go. I'm sure on his talent alone, I think he's got plenty of raw ability. He can go a mile and a quarter if they run him a mile and a quarter. But I watched that Champagne, and I just wonder if, like, one day, if he's running at 4 years old, he wins the Cigar Mile or something like that.
Right.
Like, you just wonder, like, he was, and you look at who he beat in the Champagne. I don't know, half the horses in there have not come back to be fantastic, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, is this horse better, like, going to be a Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile type of horse? Maybe not, but I don't know. But there's this gut feeling that tells me, mile and a 16th mile, maybe down the road, that might be good for him as an older horse. But the mile and an eighth won't be a problem.
I was going to say, I think the 9's okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think it will be, and I think he's going to get a good stalking trip, or he's going to be on the lead. He's going to put himself there. And when he's in peak form, he's a very good horse. So I think he'll be around at the finish for sure.
Matt Dinerman with us. Last one on the board is a Ocelli, the maiden here. I talked to Chad Summers on Monday. He had a little fun with Ocelli becoming the first millionaire maiden. All I said was, that's what the game's about, is getting checks. So here we are. Ocelli, you giving the maiden a chance here?
Does he have a chance? Sure. Would I play him on top? No. The concern I have with him is that he's going to be having to pass quite a few nice horses based on his running style. And that's a concern for me, especially with this track. Look, Journalism won from second to last year. He didn't break particularly great. He came from off the pace. But he was also, when you look at the horses that come out of that race last year and have since come back to what they've done, they were decent enough. They weren't fantastic horses as 3-year-olds, and he was, come to find, a superior horse to those horses. Now you've got a horse like Ocelli, who isn't necessarily faster than a couple of the main contenders, while on top of it having to spot them a few lengths, because he's not one that's going to be close to the pace. He's going to be coming from off the pace, and he's going to have to run down some very nice horses that'll have a kick. I would be surprised if he's able to do that. I respect him. I respect them running him in this race, because
no doubt,
this horse, he's probably going to pick up a check. I don't doubt that. He's going to run his race. He's going to pass some horses. He's going to pick up a good check, and it'll be worth it based on the money. But I think things are going to have to set up for him to win this race, in my opinion.
He's Matt Dinerman. He'll be calling the races there at Monmouth Park this weekend. You can see me wherever you're watching this right now. You'll find me before and after the races, of course. Full recap on Monday, on Blood Horse Monday, of course, for all of those as well. Well, Matt, thank you so much, buddy. I'll see you in a couple. I'll see you in about 40 hours. It looks like something like that. So
you won't be here for Book'em Dano Day tomorrow.
That is true. How much is there buzz around that?
Yeah, I think there is. Absolutely.
Good.
At least on the track, there is. Yeah. I don't know if I went to the local sandwich shop if they'd be talking about it, but there's buzz for sure. There'll be some media people here. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun race. And you've got a couple of good horses in there. So Banishing, Scratching, he's out. But you got Full Moon Madness. You got a horse, Ed Allards. It's pretty nice. So, it'll be a fun day to celebrate Book'em Dano, and a good late pick 5 sequence I've noticed too there.
Well, there you go. He's Matt Dinerman, 3 Colts handicap on the socials. I'll be in his office in just a matter of hours. Matt, we appreciate you. See you on Saturday.
See you then. Looking forward to it. All right.
This has been the Horse Racing Happy Hour. Back tomorrow to preview Saturday at Del Mar. So make sure you tuned in for that. For Matt, I'm Louie. Have a good rest of the day.